You're listening to Mondays with Mark, the thevegastourist.com podcast, episode number 3. Hit it, Carl. Oh, I love that song. I love it. Carl, safe sex, fairs for the music. Well, welcome back to the mic. I am so excited to be back in the swing of things. Episode number 3, and I am on a roll. Today is the first of many episodes like this, I hope, where I get to talk to people about Las Vegas, life, living, tours, travel, and all that is Vegas and beyond. Today, I'm thrilled to introduce to you a good friend of mine, the incredible and beautiful Leah Gorman, a former Pink Jeep adventure guide. Not only is Leah a former tour guide, a newlywed, a published author, but she is also a big fan of the let's get out of Vegas and have fun type of a person. In this episode, we talk about tours, publishing, and the wild ride from being a Vegas tourist to a Vegas local. And she finally answers the one question I'm sure you have asked yourself many times while walking down the strip, but never had an answer to. Now, it's been a few years since my last interview, so I'm still trying to get into the swing of things. So please forgive any audio goofs, okay? We did have a blast making this episode, and I'm sure you'll love it. But before I turn it over to our interview, I have to say this. Literally, right after recording this interview, Leah texted me to say she just got hired to write a Vegas tourist book. Congratulations, Leah. And now, the interview. You're my guinea pig.
Okay.
All right. Cool.
And I've never been interviewed before, so hopefully I'm a good guinea pig. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. We should change that.
My name is Leah Gorman.
And what should we know you from?
I guess really the only thing would be my children's book that I wrote.
And what's the name of the children's book?
The Amazing Adventures of Pirate Jack, The Cave of Hidden Treasure. It was going to be the first in a series, but I put the brakes on the series. So
really?
Oh. You know, I didn't do enough marketing with the first one. So it didn't sell like I wanted it to. And I'm new to the publishing world. And I figured I should learn a little bit more about that world and kind of get into writers groups. I took proofreading course to do that. I'm going to be taking editing. So just to get more familiar.
Right. Are you planning a different book?
Yes. I joined a couple of online writers communities. And I want to explore my favorite genre. I read a lot.
Okay.
And since I was little, my favorite story genre is mystery, cozy mysteries. So
what kind of mysteries?
They're called cozy mysteries.
Okay.
Cozy mysteries, they'll just take place in a smaller section, like it's a book club or it's a little town or it's just a small, a street, just a small area.
Okay. Well, you're in a town that has a lot of mysteries.
Yes. So, and I was thinking, why not base a story in Vegas? So that's what I'm exploring right now.
Cool.
But I'm not rushing myself.
Right.
I think I have a lot to learn, even though I do have a degree in screenwriting. I worked in that field for a while, but I've been out of it for more years than I worked in it. So this is somewhat new.
Okay, I did not know they gave a degree in screenwriting.
Screenwriting. I was actually the first graduating class of screenwriters, and it's now called Snyder School of Cinema in Los Angeles. Snyder is the granddaughter that owns In-N-Out. She gave quite a handsome donation to Iola, and yes, so the school is now named after her and her family.
She's worth $3 billion.
But there were 4 or 5 of us that were screenwriting majors.
Okay.
Yeah, so we had to do a little bit extra coursework in writing.
Yeah.
Loved it. Absolutely loved it.
All right.
But as any writer will tell you, it's really hard to make money in writing. You have to survive. So I had to do other, sales. I was in sales forever.
When did you move to Vegas?
February of 2012. No, 2011.
Cool. I was coming in here off of the 215 to Flamingo, and I'm just sitting there going, I remember when this was a 2-lane road, and there was nothing out here, which really makes me feel old every time I do that.
People tell me this neighborhood, there was just a dirt road out here.
I used to live off of Desert Inn in Durango.
Oh, right down the street,
Durango, right about Tropicana, that's when it turned into a 1-lane road, went out to Blue Diamond. Right at the corner of Durango and Blue Diamond was this blues club.
Oh,
there was nothing else out. I mean, nothing else out there.
Just
but
out in the middle of the desert.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And it was like, for me, pulling up, it's 9, 10 o'clock at night, and there's nothing around, and and I'm like, okay, this is an Alfred Hitchcock movie.
That's so fun.
Now it's a Jackpot, Jenny's, and a Chevron, and a Super Walmart. But yeah,
it's so sad.
Which really makes you feel old when
I'm sad. I don't know how everyone feels about this, but I'm kind of saddened by all the growth out here.
Yeah,
I really liked it when it was more of a small town, and even from 2011, not that long ago.
No,
it just seems so much bigger. And the most devastating growth to me is the Red Rock Canyon.
Yeah,
everything they're building out there, the houses and all that stuff.
Yeah,
it's horrible. The canyon, that 2-lane road, it's not going to be a little 2-lane highway anymore.
No. We met each other at Pink Jeep Tours.
Yes.
Why did you want to become a tour guide?
I had just gotten out of real estate. I didn't want to do real estate anymore. And I wanted adventure in my life. I wanted something fun.
Okay.
And just scrolling through jobs, and this tour guide position jumped out at me. I'm like, what? You can do this and make money? This is fantastic. This is awesome.
Did you ever have a guest? I get this at least twice a year. You're like standing there at Valley of Fire, and they'll look at you and go, "You get paid for this?"
Yeah.
Yep. Do you get tired of it? Nope.
No, the thing that I couldn't deal with anymore was just all the traffic on the strip.
Oh, God.
And it just started wearing me out. When I first started that, the traffic wasn't that bad. It was Formula One coming in. Mm-hmm. That just destroyed the strip.
Yeah.
For months.
Yeah. 4
months. Yeah. But the first year, it was like 10 months.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't deal with it anymore. Like, this isn't fun anymore.
What is really funny is when I was a chauffeur, they were building City Center. They were building what's now Planet Hollywood.
Yeah.
So the strip was completely chaotic, but I loved it. Now it's just a shit show.
Yeah.
What was your favorite tour?
It changed. At first, it was Red Rock because it was like my backyard.
Mm-hmm.
Then it was Death Valley. Mm-hmm. Loved that one. And then it was Valley of Fire. By the time I left, it was South Rim. Long tour, but
God, if it wasn't for the time limit, South Rim would be a beautiful tour.
Yes.
Yeah. What's really funny for me is when I used to come down here as a tourist, I had no interest in that. The Grand Canyon is a big hole in the ground. Hoover Dam is a big slab of concrete. Death Valley, they named it Death Valley. Okay, there's a reason they named it Death Valley. Okay, but now, it's just I love to go out there.
It's awesome. Well, it's Kenny's favorite.
Death Valley.
I took him on all of our tours after we got married. He'd never been on. I'm like, you got to go on them. Come on, if you have to do a rescue. And Death Valley is his favorite.
Oh, I love it. There's just so much history there. It's just, and a couple of us are trying to get Pink Jeep to do to prepare for a Scotty's Castle tour when Scotty's Castle opens up.
Is there enough time? That's out there.
Well, you can do it as a tour by itself.
Oh.
We used to do
They're opening it back up?
Hopefully next year.
Cool.
Uh-huh.
Oh, cool.
We used to go from here through Beatty's, stop at the candy store / Chevron gas station, Rhyolite, and then Scotty's Castle. And then we would drive through the park because we'd stop at Hubie Crater.
Oh, see, I haven't been to either one of those places.
Oh.
So they're easier to get through if you go through Rhyolite?
Yeah.
Is that road open again?
Is where?
Is the road open?
Yeah.
Okay.
The road to Scotty's Castle is not open.
Okay.
But the road to Hubie Crater is open.
Okay. I would love to see that.
I don't know if it's still that way, but you stand on the rim of Hubie Crater, the wind coming out of that, you could literally lean into the canyon. And that wind coming out of the canyon.
That's wild.
Yeah. So, but yeah. So
that's like the wind coming up from the dam. If you pour water, the water comes back out.
If you have a breeze, you got to catch. You got to catch that corner. I get to ask you a question that I get asked all of the time.
Okay.
You see the stores in the Bellagio and Caesar's Palace and, the Pradas and all that. Nobody's in there, but they're still open. You worked in one.
I did. I worked in one.
So
I worked at Chanel for 5 years.
5 years?
Uh-huh.
Somebody's got to be buying.
Uh-huh. We had quotas. We made our quotas. It only takes one person to come in and spend $200,000. And it can be done very quickly. And then, you've made your week or whatever. So they're high-priced items. You don't need a lot of people in there buying constantly. Plus, we ship stuff. Once I had my clients and everyone all my coworkers, we would stay in contact with them, and they knew the brands well enough that we would just send stuff out.
To ship it.
Yeah. We had their sizes for the ready to wear. They knew what bags, they liked. What shoes or shoe sizes.
Was a $200,000 tab normal?
Not normal, but it did happen.
Yeah.
Normal. And this was a few years ago.
Right.
The items are priced differently now. A normal purchase would be more like 10 to 20,000.
Okay.
But we'd get the 50,000. My highest sale in 5 years was 110,000. And she wasn't even in the store, in the boutique.
Really?
Yeah.
But you have to stand there for 8 hours every day, smiling, watching the world go by.
Mm-hmm. We would play little games, people walking down the hallways. So this was in the Encore, right? And our boutique, it's not there anymore. They moved it to Crystals, but our boutique was right across Club Excess.
Okay.
I worked every Halloween for 5 years. That was pure entertainment.
Oh, yes.
Pure entertainment. People coming in, even any night, so we were open during the week. It was 10, Friday and Saturday, it was midnight.
Yeah.
So you saw the nightlife, a ton of celebrities. You'd just be standing there at the cash wrap and there's Charlize Theron walking by, or Adam Sandler, or they're filming a movie in the casino or whatever. Yeah. So it really wasn't boring. I got claustrophobic working in a tiny little space.
Right.
Being a tour guide was better for me. Like I'm out,
right,
in Death Valley or whatever. But it was entertaining. We dealt with every culture on a daily basis. And almost all of my coworkers spoke multiple languages. I didn't. I only speak English. But you get to know where people are from 95% of the time based on their looks and what they're wearing and how their hair is styled, how their hair is colored. So we would just make up stories about people walking by. It was awesome. It was so much fun.
See, that's, that's Vegas. I mean, if you get bored, grab a drink, go out on the strip and just watch humanity walk by.
Yes. And people come here and just act like fools because they're like, it's Vegas. Yeah. We can do whatever we want. And the city pretty much allows it. Yeah. So, I remember the first, I was so naive. This was the first week I worked there. We were told we had to call them sponsored guests. Okay, but they're high-class hookers, right?
Right.
The first one I ever helped.
They were what? Sponsored?
We had to call them sponsored guests. Okay. That was their name. Because it was what politically correct, I don't know, was a nicer term. The first one I ever helped, she was about my age. She came up to me and I didn't understand it at first. She's like, I have $10,000. I want a black bag and matching wallet. You have 5 minutes, go. And I was like, okay. And the gentleman that walked in with her was just standing at the door on his phone. And I'm like, okay, black bag, black wallet, they're everywhere. So let me find some that match and that are in the price range. And boom, total it up. She just, puts her arm out to grab the card. He hands me a black Amex and it's wrapped, done, they're out of there. And my manager was on the floor. It was my first week. So she's watching me. And as soon as they're out of earshot, she's cracking up. And she goes, oh my God, the look on your face when you realize what was going on. And then it just became normal, but I had never really seen that before.
Yeah, I know. I was doing convention work and I was stationed at New York, and my job was to make sure as a convention person, you got onto the right bus to the convention center. And this is like 7 o'clock in the morning, 6. And so in between, I would go in and there used to be a circular bar right inside the main entrance there. And I always peg them as people from Iowa. It just makes it easier. But but they were this cute couple, and they had the whole Iowa just innocence,
good old American Midwest,
And she wanted to play the little game of the hooker being picked up by the businessman, and I'm sitting there, and they're about to exchange money, and I walked up to them and I said, "Do not do that.
It's not a game here."
And, the wife is looking at me going, excuse me? I said, do not do what you were about to do.
Uh-huh.
Well, how do you know what I live here?
Live here, yeah.
Okay. You're playing this little game, pick up hooker, blah, 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 blah. I go, yeah, okay. There's a camera right above you. If that camera sees him passing money to you and you putting it away, he gets arrested for prostitution. Mm-hmm. Straight across. Second of all, there's a real one sitting across from you. Mm. The woman looks across and goes, that's a hooker.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, thank you for being.
I would get that question on tours from guests. Is prostitution legal here? And they were shocked at the answer. No, it's not legal. It goes by county and the states. And in Clark County, it's illegal, but you can go to Nye County right next door. Or it's illegal in Clark County, but Nye County, it's legal. And, you go to Beatty, you go to these places, and there's little houses, little brothels. And then there's a chicken farm. Everyone's heard of that. There's a bunny ranch or chicken ranch. I'm like, we passed pretty close to these places on these tours. And, but of course, you don't really want to mention that.
We're not supposed to.
But people are like, it's actually legal? Yeah, it's crazy, but it is. And, that's why we got so many of these clients, these sponsored guests in our boutique, because they weren't passing money, but they were buying gifts.
Right.
So that was the exchange. And it's still done.
Yeah. It was really funny. they were tearing down the Stardust. And my dad and brother came, and we're sitting at the pepper mill. They're looking out to the strip. And at this point, they had the bulldozers up in the Stardust, just plowing everything out. A double-decker bus comes by, and then one of those 2-year-room in 20-minute girl billboards.
Yeah.
And my brother goes, I have never seen one of those. And I'm like, what? To me, it's normal. A bulldozer.
And a structure.
That. And I'm like, the girls to your room in 20 minutes. He goes, no, that other one. I said, you're pointing to the double-decker bus.
Well, they're all over London, right?
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah.
I like our double-decker buses.
Actually, they moved the manufacturing plant to North Las Vegas for the double-decker buses.
Really?
Yep. When you were a tourist, do you remember the first time you came to Vegas?
Yes, I do. I grew up in Southern California,
right,
like a lot of people here, and I was 21. And my boyfriend at the time wanted to take me to Vegas. Like, Vegas wasn't really on my radar. I'm like, all right, sure, we can go. And, we're driving in. State line is always pretty spectacular. We drove in the daytime, but my first time seeing State Line in the dark was really cool. I'm like, what? That's amazing. Just a line of lights. So anyway, we're driving in the afternoon, the daytime. And, this was 1997. 6 or 7. And the MGM had just been built.
Yeah.
I don't know when. The MGM was built in the 90s. I don't know when, but it was one of the newer properties, if not the newest property. So we go into MGM. And we're taking all these pictures out in front, the fountain and the lion and everything. And I'm like, the lights, like, this is just so cool. We go in. He takes out $200, $100 for him, $100 for me. I've never really gambled in my life. And we're playing, and it seemed to go pretty fast. So after we spent our $100 and had a cocktail, we walked back out to the parking garage to our car, and it was pitch black outside. And it was like we were only in there for 30 minutes, so I thought, but we were in there for hours. It went from daylight to like darkness, and it freaked me out. I was like, what just happened? It was really strange to me. But the lights, it was like magical,
Yeah. Hypnotizing.
Definitely. And then just throughout the years, friends, you're in Southern California. It was like a 3.5-hour drive back in those days. And you'd be at work on a Friday and someone would say, hey, let's go to Vegas. And you just all hop in the car and leave work and go to Vegas for the night, the weekend. And we were young. Half the time we didn't even sleep. We just stayed up all night. And Saturday, drove back home. Or if someone got a room, then we, drive back Sunday or whatever. But the only reason I moved to Vegas, I never had a goal of living in Vegas. I'm not a gambler. I don't do the nightlife or anything. Was because my father came here in retirement. My father's a gambler.
Oh, yeah. Which brings up my next question. When, as a tour guide or whatever, when you get asked, it's Vegas. You live here, so you got to be a gambler. You got to be a degenerate gambler because there's nothing else to do here. What's your response?
Well, I think years ago, there was probably a higher percentage of gamblers because there wasn't that much else to do, and all the industry was the casinos.
Right.
Now, that's not true. There's more industry here. There's sports. But the natural side, there are actually, I heard the statistic years ago, there are more AA meetings in recovering alcoholics in Vegas than any other city in the country.
Oh, definitely.
So there's a lot of people here that maybe they came here because they like to gamble or the nightlife or whatever. And maybe they hit rock bottom here and, now they're in recovery. But there's mountains everywhere. There's hiking. There's so many different activities to do. I remember the year I moved here, one of my best friends from Singapore came to visit with her new husband. They were engaged at the time. And I met him over in Chinatown, and they both looked at me and they go, "What do you do here? Like, do you live near a casino or in a casino?" And I'm like,
I love that one. I love
I'm
that
like,
one.
there are neighborhoods and we have schools and hospitals. And they were serious. They were both like, "Really?" Yes. But people, that are just tourists only know the Strip or maybe downtown.
Yeah.
But we're somewhat of a normal city, but we're not.
Yes.
In the same sense.
We're not back, and I don't think we ever will be back to that 24/7.
Yeah.
Which is what I miss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think during the pandemic, a lot of the casinos and places kind of took advantage of that, and they really changed.
Yeah.
I think they wanted to, but COVID, the pandemic gave them an excuse.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
To take out a lot of things that made Vegas, Vegas.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got, I have a photo of me in front of the Riviera, where they had the Crazy Girl statue.
Yeah.
My hand is on one ass.
Yeah.
It's like, God, gotta miss, that's the Vegas I miss.
Yeah. They tore down the Riviera a year after I moved here, I believe. I remember when they tore that down.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, right before they tore down the Stardust, they had opened it up. They had and you could literally wander through the whole place. And it was fascinating because through the years, they never took anything out. They just covered it up.
Oh.
So like going into the Wayne Newton Theater, up on stage, they had this hole, which at the bottom was this round disc that was a part of the Folies Bergère or whichever. One of the acts was a ice skating couple, and it was still down there. Everything was down there.
Cool.
If someone flipped a switch, they could turn that into an ice. Bring it back up on stage, turn it into. And you got to see all this stuff that just
that's cool.
was behind the scenes. When the Riviera had the Riviera was that was a mess because they had just built haphazardly as the new owners came in, and there were hallways there that nobody's been down for like 30 years, and you saw offices that had paperwork from the 1970s sitting on a desk.
That is so cool.
So whoever worked there in 1975 got up, went home, they fired them, they locked the door, nobody ever went back in to open the door.
Wow.
It was like, we don't need to know.
It's like a museum. It's like a capsule.
Oh, it was. So
that's cool.
When that happens to Circus, that's just going to be that's going to be amazing to go in there and see. Where Jay Sarnoff had his office and all that. When the Mirage was sold to the Hard Rock, Pink Jeep was just brought the Stretch Jeep in, and we were doing the driving test around. We came through the Mirage where we pick up. Steve Wynn's office was right there. Okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
By the tour bus pickup.
Yeah. When you walk into the glass doors to the left, there's always a little store there or something. Right behind there was his office.
Huh.
And I've seen photos of it, and he had this it was a big, fancy, tropical office. Well, apparently he did the same thing. Walked away.
Wow.
So we're pulling up. They've got this area surrounded by security, and they got the garage door open, and they're in the office bringing stuff out.
Oh my gosh.
And I mean, it was like you thought the president was in there because of the security around that little door. You're just like, oh, what they're pulling out of there.
So was this right after he sold it to MGM?
Yeah. No, well, his office is, I don't know if they just never.
Okay, so it sat there for a while before, or okay.
Yeah. So once MGM got rid of it, that's probably when the wind finally stepped up and went, hey, can we have those papers, please? Can we put them in the museum? No, you can't put them in the museum. You don't want those in.
That's pretty cool, though.
Tells us where the bodies are buried. We don't want to know that stuff. But yeah, it's just, and I love meeting people during that era. And if you can get them to talk, the stories that they will tell you. So here you are, went from selling $5,000 bags of whatever.
$5 to $50,000. I sold a couple of $50,000 alligator bags.
How do you do that? I mean, you're looking at a handbag and it's, $10, $15, $30,000. You're like, it's a purse.
It's a status symbol. Just like Lamborghinis are to men or Maseratis. It keep up with the Joneses with your top 5% of the world income. You kind of have to, I guess.
Well, I don't know if I told you this story, but my last wife, my ex-wife, she came down from Canada, small farming town girl, small town girl from Canada, brought her to Vegas. Okay. Yeah.
Shock.
Yeah. Her family was not happy with that one.
For sure.
And I was making that conversion from chauffeur to tour guide. And I did a lot of work at the Bellagio. So a lot of the front door people knew me. So we go in and I was showing my wife all of this. And then I walk her into one of the stores there. And she goes up and there's a bikini hanging there. She pulls the tag out. And in her small town, farming town voice, $600 for a bikini? Who would ever pay that? And just as she got those words out, this girl goes, I did. And she throws two of them on the counter. And I'm looking at my wife.
Awesome.
Come on, sweetheart. Let's go. They know me here. Let's go. Come on. But awesome. but it's dental. They paid $600 for dental. Come on, sweetheart. Keep moving.
That's awesome.
To this day, when I talk to her, she goes, $600 for a bikini. What the hell were those people thinking? But yeah, it's just, it's Vegas.
It's Vegas. Mm-hmm.
When I used to travel here and something didn't make sense, I would ask the bellman or doorman, and they look at me and go, it's Vegas. And that drove me nuts. Mm-hmm. That's not an answer. Now that I live here, it's an answer.
Yes.
What's this? It's Vegas.
Yes.
There's just no other answer for that.
And the longer you live here, you just get used to it. And then when you travel out of town, you realize, oh, I've gotten really used to Vegas. It's not normal.
Do you do that?
Yes. I'm like, what?
Last call? What the hell is last call?
This is like one of my favorite stories. I went snowboarding up in Utah a few years ago. We were snowboarding all day, hours. And we're done for the day. We get our normal clothes on and we go down to the bar or the restaurant to have drinks and order dinner. Well, there's all these rules about bars in Utah. I had no idea.
Yeah.
Most of them, you have to show your ID to even like get in, and there'll just be a certain area and then you can't eat food there. You have to order a drink with your food or food with your drink. Like, it's just crazy.
How long ago was that?
This was 6 or 7 years ago.
Okay.
So I go up to the bar and I order a double Tito soda. And the bartender looks at me like I have purple antenna growing out of my head. And I'm like, what's wrong? She goes, oh, we don't do that here. I'm like, what? She's like, doubles. I'm like, you don't serve double drinks in your bar? She goes, no, the whole state. Mm-hmm. I was like, what? Where am I? And they had mirrors on the bars. Yeah.
The carding, when I used to do over the road tours, we would stay at Ruby's Inn at Bryce Canyon. I had a 60-year-old lady come up to my door, wake me up, and she goes, "I was carded at the bar." I'm 60 years old.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, do you want me to tell you why they carded you? Yes. They wanted to make sure you were not from Utah.
Mm-hmm.
If you were from Utah, they memorized your name, went back into the kitchen, and there's a clipboard, and they put your name and your city on it, and your priest or whatever it is back at your congregation will get a letter from Salt Lake City going, you need to rein in your members.
Mm-hmm. The history of alcohol in that state is fascinating. The drinking clubs, the cards you had to have in order to even buy alcohol, and how they tracked you. Oh, it's crazy. But I also noticed a difference, when I went to Singapore in 2012 for my friend's wedding. It's a different country, but Vegas is just so, liberal and everything. I went to the section of town where there's a lot of Indian restaurants.
Yeah.
People from India move there and they live in the neighborhood. So I wanted to try some authentic Indian food in Singapore or whatever. So I go, and the seating is like family style seating. There's just, tables, rows of long tables, and you just sit with whomever and eat your food. And there was a girl about my age. So I asked if I could sit across from her. And she was from New York. And she starts telling me, all about her attaché and, how he's arranged all these places for her to go and visit. And I'm like, wow, she's pretty up there. And she's like very talkative to me. And then she asked me where I was from. And naive me just goes, "Oh, Las Vegas."
Mm-hmm.
The look on her face completely changed. She stopped talking to me, and I was like, well, this is awkward. She probably thinks I'm one of those sponsored guests because, I'm blonde, I'm skinny, and I'm young. So I looked at her and I started rattling off things that I was doing and trying. I remember durian fruit was one of them. And she goes, "Oh, no, I never was told about this. I didn't know about this." Basically putting her little attaché like into, her high class New York City box or whatever. And I'm like, oh yeah, well, you should try some of this kind of thing. And I'm like, okay, so we have a stigma, those of us that live in Vegas.
Uh-huh.
Fun.
Have you ever flown into Vegas?
Yes.
Okay.
Many times.
All right. After living here?
Yes.
Okay. All right. When I used to travel a lot, Southwest Airlines was the only discount.
Yes.
The number of times that I would have people look at me and go, "So what's the slot machine that pays the best?" I'm flying Southwest Airlines on the $59 one-way ticket, and you're asking me what slot machine pays the best?
People like to be in the know.
Well, then I would say there's one in every casino that has a 99% payout. And you see everyone around you go, "Turn."
That's awesome.
The whole old E.F. Hutton ad,
Yes.
And, they look at me and go, "What one?" I said, "Look for the one that has ATM on the top." That's not funny. I thought it was.
No, almost every time, taking a flight back to Vegas, once we touched down, it would just be like uproars of, "Whoa, yeah, Vegas!" Party time.
I always like it because, like when I go back home, I'm like, "Yes, I'm going back home." And everyone else is like, "Shut up and just let us sleep."
Yeah.
Coming back, I'm like, just shut up.
Just shut up, let me sleep.
We're going to bed. Shut up.
People are pre-partying on the plane. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. Then comes the final one, Pirate Jack. I want to hear that story again.
Oh, okay. Why I wrote it? Kind of where the story came from?
Yeah.
That story?
That story.
Okay. I never set out to write. a children's book ever. And
well, you don't have any children.
I don't have any. Exactly. Why would I write a children's book? So I was working at Chanel, and
you say that just so I was working at Chanel.
it was my life for years. And I had 3 dogs, 3 Bichons, but I started out with 1. And the hours I was working in the casino and leaving him home alone was really affecting him to the point where he stopped walking. It was like his depression. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't think a dog or an animal would get so depressed, but they're very emotional. His emotions went into his body and just affected him. I did a trial. I sent him to my mom's for a month to stay with her dog. She had a female Bichon, and he just perked up immediately. And I'm like, oh, it's because he's being left alone.
Yeah.
I've got to get another dog for him. So I get on this rescue site, and I want a male Bichon just like him. So I find this one-eyed Bichon that I am just fell in love with. And while I'm going through the adoption process for rescue, which is, I mean, they do background checks and they call people and interview them to make sure that you're a good pet parent.
Right.
They called my vet. They all these things. So this is a few weeks. And in the meantime, my manicurist, one of her clients' sons dies, and he has a male Bichon, and she can't take him. So she's like, do you know anyone that will take this dog? And my manicurist texts me, and I'm like, okay, because I hadn't heard yet if I was getting Jack. His name was Jack.
Right.
So I take him, and a day later, the adoption agency, rescue agency organization calls me. Congratulations, we're getting Jack ready to put on a plane to. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to have 3. So I start just in the mornings or afternoons when I'm getting ready for work, I start just making up this little story. It was just me and my dog Dylan. So I would just talk to Dylan all the time, and I start making up this story. Hey, you're getting a buddy, and he has one eye. And the reason it's taking him so long to get here is because he's a pirate. And then I'd go to work, and then I come back, and next morning I'm like, okay, remember the pirate I told you about? Well, this is happening, and this is happening. I really needed someone to talk to. Yeah. So then, I'm a few days into this story, and I get a phone call from a client in Colorado who wants certain pair of shoes. And I'm like, sure, just, send me a picture. She emails me. And the email for this one pair of shoes was like 4 elegantly written paragraphs. And I'm like, this lady's a writer. And so I didn't care about the shoes. I just emailed her back. I said, are you a writer? She emails me back and says, why, yes, I am. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have a degree in screenwriting. She goes, that's amazing. Give me a sample of your work. I'm like, oh, I don't. She goes, tell me about a day in the life in Chanel. I'm like, no, that's boring. I'm going to tell you about this dog pirate. And that's the first time I'd ever written it down. It took me 30 seconds. Email, send. She emails me back. This is so cool. I want to introduce you to my publisher. And I was like, what? And it took a while for me to wrap my head around, oh my God, I'm actually going to do this. Oh, but she was so supportive. One of her artist friends in Colorado did a watercolor. It's actually up on that wall. Did a watercolor painting from a photo that I sent her of Jack just to give me inspiration, And then my client sends me a dog pirate costume to put on Jack, and they're just so encouraging. And so I went through with it, and there it is. Have a children's book. Yeah, but it's kind of a funny story how that happened. And now I'm like, I'm not around kids. I don't have kids. I really love children's illustrated books. I think they're awesome. But I feel like you have to be a celebrity to have anyone buy them, or just really in the publishing world.
Okay.
So what I do spend more of my time with is mystery novels. So
yeah.
Yeah.
So they haven't sent you on a world tour or anything yet?
Well, I self-published. I ended up not using her. I started with her publisher. And it was a type of self-publishing, but I ended up, then COVID hit and all just, and she fired my artist, which broke my heart. I really liked him. And I just kind of put everything on pause. And I ended up going with a different self-publishing company like 4 years later and finished the book. So a lot of that marketing is on me.
Right.
And you got to have money to market. And it's just, and I wasn't in with I went to some local bookstores here, but they didn't know who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And, I don't really have a social media presence. So why would they invest? I don't know. My neighbor is a kindergarten teacher, and that's about the age group for the book.
Mm-hmm. And
I gave her a copy. She's like, I'm going to read it to my kids. I go, let me know what their reaction is, because I haven't gotten a lot of feedback from kids. And she read it. This was maybe 4 months ago. And she read it to them, and they loved it. So she came back to me. She's like, the kids loved the book. I'm like, oh, that's cool.
See, you need to go to educational events.
Yes. I asked the library to get into our Clark County library district. And there are a lot of hoops and rules to get it in the library. And one of those hoops is you have to have an established professional educational review.
Oh, God.
They have to read it and do a review. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm lost in the publishing world. I'm like, how do I do this? And when I would research it, it's not easy. You can't just give them a book, really. I was in October, there's the biggest, it's a book convention for children's literature. And I was going to go to that, but my priorities are a little different now. I got married last year.
Congratulations.
And thanks. And
your husband and I don't know. He seems to be kind of thinks he's a mechanic or something.
Yeah, it does not helpful at all. No, he's a great guy. And, I've been given an opportunity to...
You guys are more active than I am. And I got this website called The Vegas Tourist. And, I go down on the strip maybe once a month. And,
Well, now that I don't have those are long hours being a tour guide.
Yeah.
You're 12 to 16 hours a day, pretty much every day. And it did wear me out. And then the traffic on top of that. So now I have the energy. And I know this is old school traditional, but I do everything in the house during the week while he's working, and I'm in the writers group and working on book review. I've gotten into book reviews, working on that because I love reading. I read about 2 books a week, maybe 3.
Yeah.
I just jam through them. I love it. And I'm like, I'm going to start doing book reviews. So by the time the weekend hits, all the chores are done. The grocery shopping's done, the laundry, the cleaning, just everything's done. So we can go out and play. And it's really fun. And, we do just little jaunts. We're not flying. We drive where we go. We don't fly anywhere.
But see, again, that's something that a lot of people don't realize about Vegas. Probably the number one, okay, my wife has grandkids. So number 2 reason that I'm still in Vegas is not because of Vegas.
Right.
But it's because of its convenience.
Yes. It's a great base camp jumping off spot for the Southwest.
Grand Canyon, Bullhead City, the Colorado River, all these parks that are near us, all these hiking trails, biking trails. When I'm at Red Rock and I see somebody with an e-bike, I stop and talk with them. And, well, there's a really cool trail that's out here, and they're just it's like a new world to them. It just, I've lived here 30 years. And I didn't know there was a trail so.
Yes.
It just amazes people when they realize just how much is around us. Again, like you said, Southern California to here is a 4.5-hour drive.
Yep.
Hollywood is a 4-hour drive.
You're 3 hours into, a mountain resort in Utah to Bryan Head. You're an hour to Mesquite. You're 2 hours to Laughlin, Bullhead City, the Colorado River. These are really cool, just weekend getaways.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal to drive that.
No.
You want longer ones? We have Tahoe. That's a longer drive.
But still, if I want the ocean, It's a 4.5 hour drive. That's it.
Right.
I can go see the ocean, have lunch, and be back.
San Diego, yeah.
Back by dinner.
Mm-hmm.
Or for medical, Tijuana is an overnight trip.
Havasu, go to Havasu for the day. That's what 2.5 hours, 3 hours. Yeah, and then if you want mountains, we've got Lee Canyon. You cool down during the summer. From Kingman, Arizona, there's mountain resort camping, hiking up there. Yeah, Mount Charleston. We get out of town. We don't really go to the Strip or downtown. We get out and decompress.
Yeah, the only thing my wife wants down on the Strip is to see the Wizard of Oz at the Sphere.
I didn't know they're coming to this.
Really?
Ooh, that'd be cool.
I think it starts next week.
Get out.
So far, they've sold over 200,000 tickets.
Wow. What is the price point on those tickets?
Starts out at, I think it's $130.
That's not horrible.
No, not for the Sphere.
Yeah.
Not to see the Wizard of Oz on a 280-degree screen.
That would be cool.
In absolute stereo. Those flying monkeys are going to scare the shit out of people.
Yep.
All right. I want to thank you for doing this.
Oh, thank you. This was fun.
Is there any way that people can get a hold of you?
I am on Instagram and Facebook. My Instagram is Leah F. Gorman. And then Facebook, you just look, I think it's Leah Forsyth Gorman, and I'm on LinkedIn too.
Okay.
So yeah, either one of those. Oh, and I have a website, proofreadingandmore.com, that I started from my little proofreading career. That hasn't really gotten any feet yet.
And I know. Send me those links.
Okay.
Cool. All right.
I will.
Thank you very much. Have a wonderful, adventurous career. And,
thank you.
You're like a lot of us. We just keep reinventing ourselves.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Cool. There it is. Thank you, Leah. Looking forward to hearing more about your journey. As always, links are in the video description. Look for more fun interviews like this, talking tours, travel, adventure, other interesting things. Not always about Vegas, but hey, with me, you just never know. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave me your comments and your questions, and I will see you on the next podcast.
It's getting